Hey yo, it's Fresh Hip Hop Opinion with your guy Oleezeh, and today we're gonna go through Nas's Magic 2 album. Before we get into it, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Alright, let's get into it. So what I'll do, I'll just go through each track, give you my opinion on each one, brief one, then I'll give an overall rating of the album, how I felt about the album. Alright, so first of all, I'll just go into, this is Nas's 16th album. 16th studio album, which is incredible. The album's only 31 minutes long, so it's a short one. It is pretty short, but nice, and you know, it does its thing. And it's his 5th consecutive album with the West Coast producer Hit Boy, which is crazy when you think about how many albums they've done together. They really are like the new Michael Jackson and Quincy Jones, like Nas said. But anyway, we'll get into the first track of this Magic 2 album. And the first track, obviously there was an intro, but the first song of him rapping was Abracadabra. It was a good solid start to the album. I felt like it did have a intro type of feel. It had like a nice pace to it, but it also sped up with the beats at some point. I felt like Nas had a really good flow on it. It had a bit of a young flow to it as well. It wasn't just stereotypical like Nas or 90s type of rapper. You know, the beat was different and the flow was nice as well. What I liked about it though, at the end when he's talking at the end, and then Nas goes to Hit Boy, I think he says to Hit Boy, "You are doing juju." Yo, that had me laughing. You know, he's trying to put an African accent to saying juju. But yeah, on to the next track, which was Office Hours. And all I gotta say is, oh dear, oh dear. Because this song was probably the worst track on the album. Not beat wise, the beat was cool. It had like a good street kind of oriented beat. It was hard traditional kind of hip hop beat. And Nas rapped well. I don't think Nas's verses were bad or anything like that. But I think what you've heard from other people as well, 50's verse was bad. I remember this was the first song I heard of the album, and I thought it was an AI track. Because I was thinking Nas and 50 on a song, it doesn't sound right. And it doesn't sound right. Like it's unexpected. But then 50's verse sounded like something from 2006. Like, get him. It was like weird. And he didn't even do a whole 16 bars. He just started talking at the end. Really strange. His verse didn't fit the song at all. And it was really bad, man. Like, if he was coming out of a new album like he said he was, you know, this wasn't a good setup for it. And then at the end, when it was just a weird song actually, because even at the end when Nas was saying he might sign to G Unit, it's like, what is this 2006? Like, who signs to G Unit? So it was just a weird thing to say. And then 50 was, I don't know, it was the worst song. It wasn't horrible, but it was a bit out of place. I actually thought it was an AI song. Didn't think it was real. Cause I heard this before I knew this album was out. Alright, next track, Black Magic. Black Magic, probably my favorite song on the album. This and Another Song, it's probably my favorite song. I like the beat. I like it was a nice like hip hop beat. The production's real cool, and then there's like a sample in there that has like an old school sound to it, which I like that one. Subject matter was a bit all over the place, but it was a good song. I like that one. Motion, I've heard a lot of people dissing this one. I like the beat. I like the flow as well on this song as well. It actually reminded me of an old Nas song called Star Wars, the way he was rapping on this. I don't know if other people have felt that way. Let me know in the comments. But yeah, this reminded me of Nas's old song called Star Wars. Even Nas says that's his favorite, his best song he ever performed on, Star Wars. But this definitely gave me that Star Wars feel. It wasn't as good as Star Wars, but I'm talking about the song, by the way, people. But yeah, it was a good song. People criticized the chorus. I liked the chorus. It was alright. It fitted the whole production of the song. This song, next one, called Boeing Woodbine, I thought was a bit weird. I think it was one of the weaker songs on the album. I like the West Indian sort of production. Had that sort of West Indian feel to the production, which was cool. I like that bit. Nice laid back track. The production wise, you know, Hit Boy does his thing. But I did feel like Nas, his raps were a bit average. And Average for Nas is probably better than most, but I wasn't feeling this one too much in terms of rapping. Urban Magic Johnson, that is the next track. This is another song that reminded me of another old Nas song actually. It was off his King's Disease 3 album, the song called Till My Last Breath. If anyone heard that beat reminds me of this beat and the way he's rapping on it. But this is another one that I thought was a bit average. I wasn't feeling it so much. I thought it was just a bit average, this song. But it was cool, it was alright. The next song here, What This All Really Means, is probably my favorite song on the album. This one and Black Magic. But this one probably is the favorite, the standout song on the album. It has it's classic Nas, like reminiscing, but the reminiscing vibe. The production's really glossy and nice. It could easily be a single. I wouldn't be surprised if it ends up being a single. But the wordplay, I love the way he starts the song. The wordplay at the beginning, I can't repeat it in here because it's a bit explicit. You get me? A bit explicit. But yeah, the production's wicked. The rapping in the first verse in particular, the start, I thought was probably the best combination of wordplay in the whole album. I recommend that one if you're gonna check out any song on this album. Next track was Slow It Down. I like how Nas spits on this verse, on this song. It's different, especially the second verse. I like how he did that one. But I wouldn't say this song was average. I think it was above average, but it was, it will get like a B grade if we're doing that. For those who still remember the B grades. The next track was Pistols on Your Album Cover. This song, like a few of these songs on this album, reminded me of an old Nas song. This one reminded me of Death Row East. Obviously, this is the same producer that did those albums, so I wouldn't be surprised if he used the skeleton of the old songs and just changed a little bit of it. Death Row East was on King's Disease 2. But yeah, it reminds me of that production. But this one was like about reminiscing about old like albums from back in the day that had guns on it, like Boogie Down Productions, and I think Rakim had one as well like that. I'm not too sure about Rakim, but like Boogie Down Productions definitely had guns on the album covers. But it's almost like an ode to old school rap albums. Last track on the album was One Mic, One Gun featuring 21 Savage. Yeah, a bit random. I thought it was a bit random because there was all that talk about 21 Savage dissing Nas some time ago. So I reckon this was just something to show the people that there's no beef between the old school and the new school. The song was cool. I wouldn't say it was a bad song, but it's just the collaboration was just a bit of a random one. And I'm not the biggest 21 Savage fan, so not that I have anything against how he raps, but it's just a bit of a random collaboration, I would say. But yeah, those were the only two features on the album, 50 Cent and 21 Savage. But overall, in my summary about this album, Nas Magic 2, I'd probably say it was not as good as Magic 1, and definitely not as good as the King's Disease albums, any of them. It kind of sounded like scraps or songs that didn't quite make those albums, so they decided to put this album together almost to get us ready for the next King's Disease, because especially based on the album was very short, like very 31 minutes is probably one of the shortest albums you're ever going to hear. But overall, in terms of my assessment of this album, I probably give it, for Nas's standard, it's probably a bit below par or average at best. But the two big songs, What This All Really Means and Black Magic, definitely boosts it up. The 50 Cent song Office Hours knocks it down. Same with Boeing, Woodbine. But the production's good on that album, on that song. But Motion, I love the energy on that one. But overall, I'll give this album a 6.5, maybe a 7 out of 10. I think a fair assessment would be like a 6.5 out of 10. /7. Alright, you know what? Let's give it a 7. You twisted my arm. It's about a 7 out of 10. I think 6 is a bit too low. But let me know what you think about the album if you've listened to it. Which song is the worst in your opinion? What do you think about the collaborations? Did you have the same reaction as that the 50 Cent one, not that good? And do you think this is a album, just letting us get ready for the next King's Disease album. Let me know in the comments, yo. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. It's Fresh Hip Hop Opinion. Peace and love.